Hey up everybody, and welcome to the Outdo Cycling YouTube channel, where today I'm going to be looking at the Tour de France's official fantasy game. If you would like to join me in my own Outdo Cycling mini league, I'll be sure to try and remember to put the league code into the video at this point here. And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to be describing to you some tips and tricks that you can use to try and increase the amount of points that you're going to get throughout this competition. So my first tip is going to be talking about transfers. So transfers you can use throughout, and they cost you 50 credits, but you can gain credits if you play their quiz. Of course, I have already done this. I've got 23 answers out of 30 correct, and that's got me just over 2,000 points. But that will equate to transfer credits that you can use throughout the race, and it's going to be important to use transfers throughout the race because riders who you choose at the start will not be great throughout the whole race. You're going to want to select specific riders for specific stages, and also swap out sprinters for GC riders, etc. as you go through. So that would be my first tip, is to use transfers and remember to try and use them throughout the race. My second tip is going to be something that you're going to need to do daily, and that is to select a stage winner bonus. And you do that just by going on your team, seeing this icon here, and you click it, and that makes that person earn double points on just their stage points, not for any kind of daily classification, just where they finish on the stage. And you're going to want to do this every day, because every day might be slightly more tailored towards a different rider. And I guess that nicely takes me to my third tip, which is going to be you're going to want to check out and become familiar with how you score points and the kind of point classification. Took me a little while to find out where it was, but it's in the bottom right here, just a little icon that says game rules. Click on that and you're going to see the ways that you can earn points throughout this Tour de France. So of course these points in yellow are the ones that are doubled by your stage winner bonus. So instead of getting 200 points, you'd get 400, and that's going to be incredibly important to try and keep on top of. But it won't double these points on the right hand side for mountains, intermediate sprints, and the combative prize every day. This might get a little bit more complicated if you aren't familiar with the Tour de France or this competition in general, but the daily points which are offered are shown here. So you've got the leader, who is going to be wearing the yellow jersey, will earn 50 points every day, and then of course the person who owns the green jersey will get 30, etc, etc. And these are earned every single day at the end of every stage. Interestingly, these points are multiplied by 5 on stage 21. So it's going to be important for you to select riders who are high up in these classifications on stage 21, because that way you'll be earning 5 times the points that these are actually worth. If you can also find a rider who's high up in GC in the yellow jersey but also competes for a white jersey, somebody like Tadej Pogacar would be an incredibly good example of this, then that's going to be really useful, because alongside, say they win and they get 50 points times by 5, that's 250. They'll also get 20 points for the white jersey multiplied by 5, so that'll be another 100, which would equate to 350 points. Another cheeky bonus tip would be that if you want to try hedge your bets as to who you think would be the super combative rider of the Tour, then you could net yourself another 150 points. This was given to Frank Bonnemore last year. Of course, I think a jury independently decides who the super combative rider is going to be, but you can try and hedge your bets and try and see who's been in the breakaway a lot, who's just been very aggressive. Sometimes, because it is the Tour de France, it is more favoured towards a French rider, so bear that in mind. But that is a sneaky tip that you could use to try and get yourself 150 points more than all your other compatriots. But with all those tips kind of done with, let's actually talk about which riders you're going to want to be selecting for this opening week. So at the moment I've got some sprinters in here because the opening week is relatively flat until you get to stage 6. It's also worth noting that stage 5 has cobbles in there, so therefore sprinters might not make it to the finish. What I would strongly recommend is that you pick Wout van Aert. He's incredibly versatile. He's going to do well in the TTs and do well in the sprints, and apparently he's going to be going for the green jersey. So he could be a rider that you select on stage 1 and just keep all the way through until stage 21. I've currently got Philipsen and Ewan in here. You could pick other sprinters if you wanted to, and then what I'm going to recommend you do is go over and to the all-round category and to select yourself some time trialists, because of course they all get the points for stage 1 on the TT, but because the following stages are flat, they shouldn't drop out of GC too fast, so you'll therefore get those bonus daily classification points for those following few days. Mathieu van der Poel is a very good time trialist, but at 22 points I understand he is a bit more expensive. You could go a bit cheaper and go Filippo Ganna. He's 15 points and he's the world time trial champion, so therefore I think that he's a very strong choice for you to go putting into your team. You could also choose Bauke Mollema. He's the recent Dutch time trial champion, so definitely one to watch out for. Stefan Kung would be a one that I'd be strongly recommending. You could put him in. He's the European time trial champion, and his Swiss counterpart Stefan Bissegger is one of the few people who's beaten Ganna in a time trial this year at the UAE Tour, so I'd say that Bissegger is another good one that you can put into your team. It's worth noting that not all the riders listed here will be taking part in the race. These are long list riders. For example, Yves Lampaert is not being selected by Quick-Step, I believe, so just bear that in mind when selecting your teams. You've got some other good time trialists like Casper Asgreen. I'd say that he's a good one to have. You could choose Alberto Bettiol. He's done some good time trials in the past, but not recently, so just bear that in mind as well. Quinn Simmons has gone for KOM classifications in the recent stage races he's been in, so just bear that in mind for the opening few stages. He might be tempted to go for some of the breakaways there, but I'd say that the safer option is to probably go with somebody like Jan Tratnik at 10 points, because of course he is the recent Slovenian time trial champion and therefore should do okay in that opening stage. So that is the team that I'm thinking of going with for the opening week. If you wanted to do a bit more analysis, be sure to go to Pro Cycling Stats. This is a cycling database that I use all the time, and it will allow you to look at the start list, look at the stage profiles, and see who the best time trialists and perhaps some good sneaky picks for your team will lie in that database. So that is my tips and trick video for the Tour de France's official cycling game. Be sure to put the I'll Do Cycling League code in and join my mini league. There aren't any prizes for it, but you will have the glory of winning this league. And all that is left to say is to keep safe out there, and I'll see you in the next video. Salut!